Books and Bros is a book club that I started when I was 10 years old, initially just as a way of escaping and getting away with my friends and being able to read books.
So, welcome to Unleashed Learning TV and Unleashed Learning Radio for our podcast listeners. Now, if you truly want, you and your team, you really want to make learning stick for everyone, today's episode is so for you. Now, Sidney Keys III is founder and CEO of Books and Bros. Now, you may recognize him from appearances on like the Oprah's Magazine, Good Morning America, CNN, Huffington Post, or on Disney Plus as a Marvel hero. Guess this kid is a superhero. Now, he started Books and Bros because he loved to read, but he realized that when he went to school, he didn't often see himself as an African-American young man in the books he was reading. So he decided to start a book club for 7 to 13-year-olds to make a change. He's also published his first book, which is called Cool Bros Read. Now, whether you're a school or business or team or organization, if you really want to make learning stick for everyone, I promise you, this episode is for you. So from Sydney, Australia, we've got Sidney Keys III. So it's Sidney from Sydney. And Sidney, welcome to Unleashed Learning TV. I am so excited to meet you. I can't really tell you how excited I've been about this. So welcome to the episode.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be on this episode today. I'm really excited to share my book club as well as everything else with my books and everything.
Fantastic. Well, like I said before, we turned the studio because we both love books. So we thought, let's celebrate books from one side of the world to the other. So Sidney, what we do at Unleashed Learning is we help businesses and schools learn how to make learning stick for everyone. And what part of that work is ensuring that our resources and our materials and our language and all of it help stick for everyone. And I think that a lot of people are going to be really inspired by what you're doing. And you're also going to teach all educators all over the place how to do that in deeper and deeper ways. So to start this process, can we start by you telling us a little bit about how Books and Bros works? How does this work?
Yeah, I'd love to tell you how Books and Bros works. So Books and Bros is a book club that I started when I was 10 years old, initially just as a way of escaping and getting away with my friends and being able to read books. And it's been able to grow into a subscription-based business that revolves around African-American literature, where boys meet once a month, including myself, to talk about the book that we read for that month. So the subscription includes a box, as you can see right here, and the box normally has a book inside, as well as curriculum, snacks, and a bunch of other trinkets that we will cater to the boxes depending on like the month. If it's Halloween, we'll have maybe some cobwebs in there, some spiders, stuff like that. We'll just always change it up, keeping the boys always interested in what's inside their box and the new book that they're going to read.
Okay, so this is, I just get so excited about what you're doing here. Okay, so I got to ask you, I love to read. That's why we moved the studio. So, to celebrate books, and you're showing us our books. So I love to read. And so do you. What do you love about reading? Like, why is that so important to you?
Yeah, what I love about reading is just being able to immerse myself within the pages of a book. Like growing up around literacy, that's something that I've just always been able to do. I didn't have like much of an interest in playing video games on my phone growing up. So whenever we would get on a long car ride or be in the car, I would always have a book in my hand to read and just distract myself and be able to and like envision myself in all these different countries and all these different worlds and these tales. And that's just something that I've always loved being able to do, and just using my imagination to do that. So reading, honestly, me is an escape from the real world, being able to just relax and see things in a different way.
Sounds like it's your dream factory in many ways, the way I hear you say that. It's really cool. My family, my aunts and my mother are big readers. So books were just everywhere all the time. And that really is how it kind of got into me as well. Sidney, could you help us? And I think this is a really important question. You started Books and Bros so that boys and African-American boys can see themselves in literature. I don't know if people really get this. So I think, and I don't mean that patronizingly, I mean it like to educate us. What's it like if you love to read, but you go to school and you don't see yourself often in the stuff you're reading? What does that feel like?
It feels almost as though it takes away from the fun and the meaning of what it means to love to read, because what I just said, being able to immerse myself within the pages of a book revolves around representation and being able to see myself in that book first. So if I can't see myself in the character's shoes, that's going to be extremely difficult for me to be able to be interested and locked into that book, being able to immerse myself within the pages because I can't see myself in their shoes. So representation in literacy, especially for young kids, and just in general is extremely important because representation is what really matters whenever you're growing up, because seeing yourself as a doctor in a book, you can see someone who looks like you as a doctor in a book, you're like, oh, I can be a doctor too. So being able to see people who look like you doing successful things that may not be as common in a space or a work environment is something that's extremely influential.
God, this is why I was so excited to talk to you. You know, it makes me think, I can't think of who said the quote, but it's hard to become what we can't see. And that's what I hear you talking about. Like opening a book, it's hard to become what you can't see, but it's easier to become when you go, oh, me too, the way you're describing that. So Sidney, we in Australia, everyone shrinks people's names. So I keep saying Sid, so apologize.
Oh, you're fine. No worries.
Sidney, my question to you is, we've got educators all over the world and presenters who are passionate about what they're doing, and they want to help make learning stick for everyone. And they mean everyone. So what are some suggestions if you're talking to educators to ensure, because they've got diverse, like people from all different backgrounds. So do you have any recommendations about how do we diversify our curriculum, or how do we ensure that people see themselves represented in our work so it can stick for everyone?
Yeah, for sure. So how you can make sure that the work sticks with like implementing diversity within your curriculum is honestly just connecting with the kids on a level that they will be able to express themselves within. So if you find a topic that the kids are really interested in and you're able to implement that into a way that will include diversity among like their cultures maybe, or even just that culture of that classroom setting, is something that's going to keep them interested. They're going to be like actually being able to express how they feel onto paper, being able to say exactly what they are thinking, because they'll be able to like think about it in a way that they can see themselves in. So being able to do something like that is extremely easy to do. Like if you're just like, oh yeah, I know that, that's an easy topic. Like I do that all the time with my family. Just things like that are extremely like, they're just relieving, being able to step into a classroom setting and just be able to write on paper things that like, oh yeah, I know this. I bet you guys don't know this type of kind of feel. So like things like that always make a kid feel good, especially with curriculum and diversifying it.
It makes me think one of the things we teach at Unleashed Learning is specifically how to build a bridge between who the learners are and the content. And that's what you're talking about, making that really relevant, no matter what the content is. And the way you described it made me think about, there was an educator once said to us, oh, this helps. And she meant it really powerfully. She said, oh, this work helps make everyone smart, not just a few. Right. Exactly. So that's kind of the ways that I'm hearing that. Okay. So we can really build this bridge as you're talking about with who our learners are, where students can go, or learners go, oh, I can relate to this, or I can see myself in that, right? So what I want to know, what are some ways, so you help really boost literacy with boys and African-American boys, and you've got Books and Bro. How can our viewers help or support your efforts? So what can we do? We're all talking about literacy. It's so important, and you're working on it. So what can we do to support you?
Well, first off, how you can support me is purchasing my book, Cool Bros Read. So this is actually my first book that I wrote.
So cool.
It's about my journey starting Books and Bros and where my love for literacy began. Yeah. So even before I was exposed to African American literacy, I'd always had a love for reading. But once I found that new world of literature and being exposed to it is something that was completely new to me. And I just loved it so much. And so being able to write that within the pages of my own book, so cool. And as well as my mission being, I wanted to see myself within a book. Now I have my own book with my face on it. So it's kind of like, it's just like amazing. Oh, also there's curriculum in the back as well. So if you purchase my book, there's questions about my mission all along the back of the book as well that you can look at and fill out.
That's so cool. That's so cool. We do need to mention that they made you into a superhero. So we probably need to say this. So can you tell us briefly, we're almost out of time, but tell us, you're a superhero. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so my experience becoming a superhero was actually through Marvel and Disney Plus collaborating on a project called the Marvel Hero Project. So this project is where they got kids from all over the world who are doing amazing things in their community and brightening people's days to basically come together into like one series of like 22 episodes of all their different kids and documentaries on their projects. So I was honored as a Marvel superhero from Marvel with my comic book. They gave me a comic book as well as they gave me a superhero named the Spectacular Sidney, and they gave me a leather jacket with the logo on the sleeve and a bunch of other things. So during this entire experience, it was just super surreal being able to be in a Marvel production, being able to see myself as a superhero, because representation within just superheroes as a whole is very slim. We have a couple here and there, like Black Panther and a bunch of other superheroes, but like being like growing up as a Black kid and seeing yourself in a comic book is like always been a dream of mine. So being able to see that actually come together is something that I was really excited for.
I just want to say how much I respect what you're doing because you saw there. Oh, there's the superhero. Fantastic. It's so cool. It's a superhero. You saw that there was a need. You knew what was for you, and you created the space for other people. And I can't even imagine the ripple effect that's going to have. And you're now other young men will see themselves as superheroes because of the work you're doing. So Sidney from Sydney, Australia, we want you to go from strength to strength, and we will do whatever we can to support your work. We really appreciate you being here at Unleashed Learning TV, and we wish you all the best in what you're doing.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being on here with you. Thank you for having me.
We'll see you very soon.
See you soon. Thank you.
Bye. So now it's your turn. We want to hear from you. Our question is, what is your biggest takeaway from Sidney Keys III in this Unleashed Learning TV episode? Now, some of the best conversations take place after the episode, so join the conversation and let us know, what is your biggest takeaway from what Sidney had to tell us? And while you're there, grab our free ebook. You know what it is, 5 Essentials for Teaching, Presenting, or Running Professional Learning in a post-COVID world.